guys, Office Bloke Dave here.
Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Together we are the Office Blokes.
Yes, indeed.
It is true. Now, I saw a short thing talking about a congestion charge in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, actually, that's something we could probably chime in on.
Yeah.
Got binned off over here for in Manchester anyway.
Certainly at the moment, hasn't it? We've got one in London already, haven't we?
Correct.
That's up and running. And I think
it's very divisive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think in London they were looking at expanding it, weren't they?
Yeah. It'll happen in Greater Manchester.
I don't think it will.
It's just to what degree it'll happen, you know, because... Anyway, we'll talk about the New York thing first, and then we can talk about how it relates to our experiences and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, essentially, obviously following on from London, Stockholm, Singapore... there's a congestion charge which they reckon is going to ease congestion and cut pollution and raise millions of dollars from for the government. I think that last one is the main point.
Yeah, sort of reason behind it all, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like in New York, but over here it's a taxation on the poor, essentially.
What I don't get is, I was reading an article last week about the pollution and the like global percentage we have in Britain. Yeah. And it was something like 1%.
Yeah, that we're responsible
for. Right. Yeah. 1%. And they said that if we change everything round, I mean, you know, we improve it by this and we do this and we do that and we get electric cars and we cut down on this and cut down, we'd still be at 1%. And I'm like, hey,
1% isn't a lot, is it?
No.
I think they've got to be looking at other countries there, haven't they? A bit more
I think
closely.
You look at places like China and India.
Yeah,
it's a tax on the poor, and I think they're trying to get us out of car ownership. Personally.
Yeah,
but that's conspiracy talk, isn't that? So, I mean, this is talking about the examples of other places that have done it, this New York Times article, to give a glimpse into what New York's future could look like. And it's saying public opinion changed in Stockholm when it tried a congestion tax in its central city area in 2006. Many people protested. Some critics later came around when they saw that congestion pricing had helped unsnarl the streets. I mean,
it's like when you go in some pubs and the cost of a beer is like £8. It's to keep the shitheads out, isn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, and you can get to the bar easier. But you've got a dead bar.
But you pay more money. And that's what that's the congestion charge is the same, isn't it? Less people pay more money. Yeah.
The thing is,
how much is it going to cost to drive in New York now? Is it a daily charge when you enter, and then you can free to travel all around all day?
It seems like it's a flat charge depending on what vehicle you're driving. Here we go, back to Wikipedia for this one.
So when I went to London a couple of months ago, I didn't get charged in my car. I don't know because of the lower emissions. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's more of the older cars, isn't it? It's there's like a list of sort of like age groups and sort of like size cars.
Yeah.
But yours probably churns out loads of shit. Right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's probably a fairly efficient sort of engine. It's not a big engine.
It's diesel, isn't it?
It's diesel, yeah.
It's a tax on the poor, though. It's the people who've got the 15-year-old car that are keeping it going forever.
Well, I was saying to you, it's about people in the trades, isn't it? You know, you're painting decorators, you're joining that have got old vans and old vehicles that they need to, literally go out and do the job all the time. They can't afford to go out and buy a brand new van for like 30 grand or anything like that.
No.
Or live in high rises and terraced houses where you can't get an electric point for an electric car or van.
It's wrong, but we'll get into our opinions on it when we
I see what they're trying to do, but I think they need to do a bit of traffic management. Would be probably a good place to start.
It's better. I mean, you've got to invest in infrastructure massively.
Yeah,
I don't know what New York's like, but the subway is quite famous, isn't it? I presume it runs well, even though it's dangerous at certain parts. So they've got the infrastructure to have less vehicles there. Right. So pricing wise, the charge would apply on weekdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Proposed fees would be $8 for cars and commercial vehicles and $21 for trucks entering from outside the zone.
How big is it? When you say New York City, is it Manhattan this or New York City?
I just read something that said it's Manhattan, and I'll see if I can find it again. And then it was like south of 60th Street or something. It said.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be a map that's going to show it. Transit buses, emergency vehicles, taxis, and for-hire vehicles and vehicles with disabled parking plates would not be charged the fee.
They're exempt.
Taxi and livery trips that begin or touch the zone would have a $1 surcharge. Vehicles would only be charged once a day. So, I mean, if you look at that, it says for-hire vehicles. And I think the idea is that people aren't going to own cars, and that if you need a car for a trip,
yeah, for hire would be your Ubers and your taxis and stuff like that. Your limos.
They said taxis and for hire vehicles.
Yeah, you'd be like, it'd be things like limos, and it won't be like if you're just leasing a vehicle or a hire car, like if you go to Hertz or anything.
But I think it's like, you know, that ridiculous bike I hired in Manchester last weekend. Yeah. I think the idea is cars are going to become like that.
And like rent a car type thing.
Yeah, but like short-term rents, you know, and dump a car. And actually, my bro works in that industry, and he's had chats from quite high-level experts on all that said car ownership in the next 10, 15 years is going to go away, essentially, for the majority of people.
I think I'm not sure about that. I think the convenience of it's just never going to go away either.
No, I agree.
They'll price you out of it so that, I mean, if more people are working from home and it's too expensive to drive your car into the city every day, but every now and again you need a car to go and visit family somewhere else, you just rent one. Well, I think that's the idea.
Someone like Max is he's not a car owner, are you? You don't even have, I don't think you have a driving license, do you? No. So the younger generation now, I don't think they really look towards car ownership anyway.
I think they're
not as. I mean, as soon as I was 17, I wanted my driving license.
Yeah.
As soon as I was old enough to drive, I was in the car. Yeah. But and now, like you say, the convenience of having a car, I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have a car.
Well, you look at public transport again, don't you? It's just not ideal. Although you see Manchester,
Manchester's good public transport.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But that's one of the whole points of getting the metro going.
Yeah.
But now congestion charge as well. I mean, the metro was supposed to take thousands and thousands of people off the road. That was one of the reasons why they did it.
Really?
But they're obviously saying it's not enough, so maybe they haven't built enough track.
Well, even with the metro, you park and ride things like that, they don't work over here. It's too. They put a car park that hosts like 30 cars.
Yeah, they've got for navigation road there, but
fucking rammed every time you go.
Come 7:30 in the morning, during the week, it's absolutely rammed. You just can't park there. So people go in the surrounding areas, then don't they?
Yeah.
You know that's what I mean. The infrastructure is absolutely terrible still, because that wasn't thought about when they put the trams going. They just sort of keep the same car park and that's it. But it's just not big enough.
So back to the New York Times article that using London as a case study, and they said they established a congestion zone in 2003 and quickly saw an improvement on its street. Within a year, the number of vehicles entering the zone dropped 18%. Traffic delays were reduced 30%. The average speed of vehicles rose to 10 miles an hour. Air quality also improved. So these are all the good things of it.
And that's based on London?
This is London. But
they took into account, they documented the protests and the cutting down of the cameras and how much it costs to replace all them, and
we'll talk
people
about
stealing
them
and rioting.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the early success eroded in later years as traffic crept back. The streets became clogged with taxis, Uber, and other ride-hail cars. Delivery trucks carrying more packages as online shopping surged. New bus and bike lanes also took up space from cars. I think it's a disaster in London. Personally.
It is a disaster.
And if you look at they're called Blade Runners. Do you ever watch the videos of the Blade Runners in London?
No.
They're the people who cut the cameras down.
Oh, is that what they're called?
They put stickers on them, on the lenses of all the cameras. Yeah. They've got secateurs on extendable poles and
I've seen that,
clipping the wires on all the cameras. That must cost 10 times as much as they're generating from the congestion charge. Yeah, I mean, fixing all the cameras.
Our government are great at wasting money and pissing it away.
Yeah. And money grabbing as well.
Yeah, they're just very, very good at it.
It does make you wonder, what they have actually done with the money that they've raised from it. Have they actually built on the roads, improving the roads?
No,
or what have they actually done with it?
Look at
improving the roads. The roads are like fucking...
Well, that's what I mean, exactly, yes. What they, isn't that what they're supposed to be raising money for?
Yeah.
I know it's supposed to be for like cleaner air and things like that.
I get the cleaner air thing because instances of asthma and things like that in Greater London, when you've got kids' primary schools next to busy roads, is awful. But then they've done studies where they plant a barrier of trees around the primary school and then air quality reduces significantly and it helps the kids. So there's other things than just...
That's what they should be thinking about beforehand.
There's obviously, you've got to do something about congestion in these big cities and the pollution that it causes in these big cities like New York or Singapore or London or Paris, wherever you go. But at the same time, you never see names in that. You never see Beijing, Shanghai, Mumbai in these lists.
No.
Do you know what I mean? What are they doing there? That's where the big problems lie.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You look at some of these big cities that have just, I think there was a list last week and I couldn't even find anywhere that was like, your big major city that you would go to on the list. It was all like third world shitty countries.
I also do get the inner ring road sort of concept of, say, just within the ring road, there's a congestion charge. Like, I kind of understand that. It's the same with London, isn't it? Is it the M25 and then it's on the inside of that? But the whole of Greater Manchester, so as soon as you come off at Lim Roundabout over there, you get charged.
It's a big area.
It's countryside. It's literally fields and stuff. How's that doing anything?
But the way the Greater Manchester one got set up is purely based on the fact of everyone's going to pay it.
Yeah,
and everyone's going to be captured. And then it was Burnham stopped it because he was ready to be elected, wasn't he?
Is that what it was?
I think elections were imminent.
Yeah.
So he binned it off.
It was supposed to be his idea, though.
Yeah, but when the elections goes, if he gets back in again, that's when it'll come in effect. If it does,
it will.
But there won't be problems here. Mancunians won't have it. The dickheads.
I think I just think they've overreached the area in Manchester. I think they've put it too far out.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm happy not to drive my car.
It's supposed to be to stop people going into city centres.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be for.
I'm happy to not drive into the centre of Manchester, though. I'm more than happy. Like, Ashes is in Withington, and it's about 4 or 5 miles away from the centre of town.
That's nice. About 2.
I'm
2. I'm like 2.3 mile.
Wow, it felt like more in the snow.
Would do, wouldn't it? On a bike in the snow when you're drunk.
I think that sort of boundary, because obviously you've got a major hospital there. I mean, you do have to caveat things for people driving into town for the hospitals and things like that. But I don't want to drive in the centre of town anymore. Those days are gone. I used to do it all the time.
I don't think I can help it. I'd rather just jump on the tram.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
I went to college in the middle of town and used to drive there every night. And it's like, I wouldn't do that now.
No.
I'd get transport. Because you don't want to be fighting through everything every single day. So I get that, but Greater Manchester, when you're talking Wigan, someone drives into Wigan and they've got to pay.
Yeah.
Madness.
But you could go out of the zone and re-enter the zone. And I don't know if does that charge you twice?
I think it's one
charge per day.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a natural thingy with the M60, haven't you?
Yeah.
Ring road. That's a natural thingy. It shouldn't be any further than that, at least. But the fact that it's
but I live inside the M60.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like for my bro and my dad, the second they start their cars, because they're in the proposed zone, you'd be the same.
Yeah.
No.
You technically get charged as soon as you move your car off your driveway onto the street. You think that can't be right. That's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's different when it's a big journey and someone's going into a zone and stuff like that.
But them prices you were talking about there for a New Yorker, that they won't be fucking bat an eyelid on that. There'll probably be a pushback.
That's proposed prices, because I think it's only just been. It's either been approved or there's been a vote.
You know, it's like with these things. They'll start the prices low, but once they start getting charged, people start getting used to it, and you can bet your bottom dollar after a year or two, they'll start banging them up.
The other side of it as well is once you get the people involved who run like the parking garages and things like that, where it's that's a massive income over there.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, good point.
Then people will be pointing out at that and saying, "What are we going to do with these? Are you going to convert them into more accommodation? Are they going to turn the high-rise parking lots into accommodations for apartments?"
Yeah, you think it's going to impact them quite a lot. Businesses like that.
Yeah, or would it even have an impact other than making money? Will people just go? Do you know what? Because you go through like the Lincoln Tunnel, or the Holland Tunnel, or wherever, or over the Verrazano into Brooklyn or whatever. And I don't know where it's going to stretch to and from. But you've got all the bridges that you go over. You have to pay for them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Right.
So you're paying to go into the city anyway.
Right. Okay.
In New York, for whether you're going in the tunnel or over a bridge.
Yeah. Right.
That's one reason I wanted to bring it up, is you've got more of an intimate knowledge of New York and New Yorkers, and I want your opinion on how you think they're going to react to it.
Yeah, you're always going to get pushback on anyone that's going to be charged for anything, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, if someone introduces anything, there's always someone who doesn't like it and doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you could bring in a sandwich tax, anything that you put on top of a price to call it tax or a fee or a charge. No one wants that.
It's Manhattan, south of 96th Street.
Right.
So that's it on a map.
So it's just Manhattan. But you can, like I say, to get into Manhattan, you're paying anyway through the bridges and the tunnels.
But you can guarantee that will be expanded as soon as that comes into force. It'll be a year, and then it'll be great.
Well, as soon as you start like getting to the Harlem area, isn't it, and the Bronx, and then up into the Bronx and stuff like that. So the higher you get like that, the more sort of like the wealth is downtown, isn't it, in Manhattan?
Right.
Well, it's pretty much everywhere in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting one. I mean, I'd love to know the stats on how much the government spends on new cameras in this country. And also they employ, to do the mobile the mobile congestion vans, it's bouncers. They've got to have their accreditation, the bouncers do, where they've got the license on their arm. And if you watch some of those videos, it is rough guys controlling those cameras. They've got no business dealing with the general public whatsoever, and they're not showing their badges. A lot of them aren't approved. They're just anyone who'll do the job.
Yeah.
But loads of people just go up and just put a sign in front of the camera, and I think because it's a public roadway, I don't think there's any law about them obstructing.
Yeah,
because it's a mobile camera.
Yeah.
I think it's a joke. I think it's trying to get people out of cars. I can't see any. Obviously, we've got to get pollution down to a degree. You can't have kids
globally. Globally, we've got to get pollution down. But like I say, I like to see what the other countries are doing that've got these major problems of pollution.
And congestion.
And congestion.
I mean, I've not been there, but I've seen pictures of other major cities like your Mumbai's and you look at the congestion there, it's like, gee, nothing's moving at all.
I've been China, like Shanghai and Beijing. I moved about 50 meters in about 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's just it's a zoo.
I think obviously you've got to protect kids' health, and I get the thing of like pollution around schools and stuff is bad, but they can plant trees, and also I don't like the idea of my kids especially being in inner city school. You know, right in the thick of it. I don't think kids should be around that. It's too much.
It depends where you live. You got to have a school where you live. You can't live in Manhattan and send your kids to school 20 miles away. Because it take you a day to get there and back.
Completely agree. Yeah. And I'm just using my sort of experience as a case study. Like I had this conversation with Ash the other day. I would never have the kids in the middle of Manchester going to school, even if I lived near there. It's just, you see what goes on and what they do after school when they're at Piccadilly Gardens with all the nutcases and stuff. Yeah. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how many schools are right in the centre of Manchester. I'm not sure.
They're not far out. You don't have to go far.
It's because it wasn't a massively habited area, was it? Only so recently.
No, no, it wasn't.
So it was more industrial than anything. But so I don't know how many schools are actually there, long-term schools that have been there a while. I wouldn't thought there's many. I've never seen one.
Go to Piccadilly Gardens at school, kicking out.
Oh, you'll see. But that's coming into the terminal. That's what that is. That's people transiting. You look at it's like saying you get on you stop at the tram stop here at like 4 o'clock on a train on 4 o'clock going through Timperley here. If you get stuck at the crossing, and watch how packed it is of kids coming from Altrincham Grammar who don't live around this area.
Yeah, true.
They're all coming on the train. They're all going to Piccadilly to switch to go to Rochdale or wherever they're going. I don't like use Rochdale as a
no one from Rochdale's allowed in Altrincham nowadays.
I don't know. They all go to that school, but that's all that is. They're school kids transiting. They're not people who go to school around that area. They choose to go around and hang around Piccadilly.
I'm sure there'll be one or two, probably private ones, maybe that are in.
There's a primary school.
The city centre, but,
there's a primary school in Ardwick. At Ardwick Green.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of ones that I've driven past.
They're just outside the city, though. Ardwick's just outside of the city.
Sort of like suburb outside the city, like your Ardwick.
Yeah, you're going to get rush homes.
Gorton,
all
literally
that.
the first sort of like,
there's loads of schools in Gorton. Loads.
I think that for me, that's an inner city school, and that's the kids that are.
But that's how much you branch out. Then, if you're talking Gorton and Abbey A and places like that, where you've got all that surround Droylsden, where you're surrounding the city, then you go one step back, and then you've got your Withenshaws, and then you're right outside. You're 10 miles away, then sort of thing from the city. But when you're talking city centre, I'm talking right bang in the city centre.
But I mean, Ardwick Green is less than a mile's walk from the middle of town.
But somewhere's got to border it. But they're big cities. They're towns where it's residential. Yeah, that's a residential town outside the city.
Yeah,
I would. If you said to me we're going to town and going to Ardwick, I'm like, that's not town. Would you? No one would say go to town and go to Ardwick.
No.
You wouldn't say you go to Manhattan and then go to like the Bronx.
Yeah, that being like the Apollo's in Ardwick. Yeah, and if you were like you going to a concert at the Apollo, you'd say I'm going town for a concert.
But you'd probably say I'm going to the Apollo. But in town, but Ardwick's definitely not town. It's like me saying I'm going to the match. I'm going to town.
Yeah,
so that's where City Stadium is.
Yeah. You're right about that.
Yeah, but you don't.
Yeah,
don't know. It's.
Do you think New Yorkers are going to have the same response that Londoners have had, where they're trashing cameras, putting stickers over it? Because it's got quite a vibrant sort of mix of people.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different though with Manhattan. I think the balance of people going in and out of Manhattan, they know what they have to pay. They're already paying fees. For me to go to London tomorrow cost me nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So going to Manhattan, you're paying the toll bridges, the toll road. You've already got toll roads, toll bridges, tunnels.
So they're paying it anyway.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
then parking. Then if you go into a parking garage in Manhattan, I don't know what the prices are now, but they're fucking extortionate.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can pay $60, $80, $100 a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think most people in Manhattan aren't driving in anyway?
A lot of them do commute into Manhattan, but trust me, when you go there, the traffic going through the tunnels in the mornings is busy as fuck.
Yeah. So there is a lot of people that will be entering and leaving that zone every day.
Yeah.
I thought when I was there, sort of like last year, just walking around during the day, during the week, it didn't seem actually that bad on the roads. It didn't seem like congested or anything. It looked like fairly free-flowing traffic and didn't look like
I think visitors
or anything.
When you got your visitors coming in, I think a lot of them are not driving in. I think the people who work there going in during the day, and then if you try and get through the tunnels after 9, 10 o'clock, it eases up a little bit.
Yeah, so morning, rush hour, morning, later
correct.
on in the afternoon, I get that. Yeah.
But as far as people who work there, I don't think many people would bat an eyelid on it. Not like they do in London, because it's like London. There's not enough. There's not as much money in the UK there is in the USA, and when you got people, they're paying. I don't know how much the toll charges are now going through the tunnels. $6 or $10 or whatever it may be. You're paying that to go in anyway.
Do they pay road tax in the US? Because we know over here motorists get taxed.
Don't think so.
Get taxed on fuel, but have to pay road tax just to have the car on the road.
Yeah.
Just everything.
To be fair, they've been complaining about $3.50 for a gallon of fuel.
It's
like
$10.
$10. Come over to. What? That's what you paid when you were out there?
No, ours over here is $10.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
we get taxed. Most of that's tax as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we worked out. They got two different size gallons. One's imperial, one's metric.
Yeah, ours is 4.5 litres in there.
4.5 litres a gallon. Yeah, something like that. But if you go off the base on what we pay per gallon for a British gallon over here, it's $10.
Yeah.
Just short, probably about $9.70.
It's just been a big thing over the years, hasn't it? That the motorist always gets taxed and battered for everything over here.
Yeah.
So I think that's why maybe there'd be a bigger reaction over here. But from what you're saying, people are used to paying taxes going in on the bridges and tunnels anyway, so it might not be as big like a shock to them.
That's my opinion. Yeah, I think you'll have pushback because it's an additional charge that people won't want to pay.
Yeah.
It depends how much it is as well, doesn't it? Yeah. But that's a big part.
Well, he told us the prices there. It wasn't that much.
It was $8 or something.
Yeah, it's not much
for a private vehicle.
That's what they're mooting. So if the prices are low, then it might be a case of okay.
It's just another charge you shouldn't really want to pay. So you're going to get pushback no matter what.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many of those people would not drive into Manhattan then if they're getting charged for it.
I don't think it'll affect them. It's too low of a price.
So
I think the fact that it's Manhattan versus like the greater New York area has got a lot saying.
If it was going down to Queens and Brooklyn and places like that, I think you'll see more pushback where it's more residential.
It's easier for people in Greater London to cut down cameras and stuff because it's such a wide area.
It's on their street.
Yeah, the cops can't police all of that, so you can just go and do it. But if it's Manhattan, I'd imagine that if you start vandalising cameras, you're probably getting jumped on quite quick, aren't you?
I'm guessing in Manhattan, there's a good way of policing it with coming over bridges and tunnels where that's where the cameras would be. I'm guessing they will probably need them everywhere around the city.
They are everywhere though. If you look at Greater London and places like that, they're
everywhere.
But
Manhattan's a bit different, isn't it? It's like more like an island, isn't it?
It is an island.
But if you're already on Manhattan and you just start your car and drive to another street.
That's what I was just going to say that.
I think
you'll have to do it for the people who live there.
People live there as well, right? Of course, yeah. Fair enough.
People who are in and around that area.
Yeah. It'd be interesting, but I think they're trying to get cars out of major cities.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get cars off the road all around the world. Yeah, it's like I say, you still got the protesters that come up and try and stop you from driving the big cars. Then they've got people going around where we live, where they're popping tyres on SUVs and stuff like that.
Problem is if the price is too high, if it's not punitive, the price, then it's not going to stop people from using it. If it's cheap, then it's going to have absolutely zero effect on the atmosphere or anything. So
it's like this is what we're doing to try and deter you from using it to cut down on emissions. In the meantime, we're going to make money on it.
Well, that's the cynic in us says, well, that's just a money making exercise.
It's all just a money making.
I don't think it's being cynical. I think that's just the truth.
It's a way of taxing the poorest. It's the people who are going to feel it the most that are driving the older cars that aren't compliant and all that sort of stuff.
Can't afford to buy
they can't afford. They can't afford a new
car.
car, so we're going to make them pay every day until they can.
Yeah,
I was like, that's not fair. It's not fair on people like that. Some people can afford it, and it might not affect.
At least
them.
if they're going to do it, give said right in 5 years or 6 years or something. This is what's going to happen. Then at least give people a bit more of a heads up.
Yeah, have a scrappage scheme like we had for new compliant cars and get the old ones off the road. Maybe.
Talking of old cars and congestion and stuff like that, I got a Deliveroo yesterday, which is like a DoorDash for anyone in the USA or I don't know what the equivalents are in other countries, but got a Deliveroo last night, and I ordered 2 different restaurants, and they both turned up at the same time. And in one of the cars was 4 guys.
Not 5.
And it was a piece of shit old car as well. Yeah. And I'm just looking like, and he went, and he had very broken English, and he asked me if I'd ordered this, and I was like, yeah, because I was waiting, sort of, because I knew he was on the app, he was coming. But when he turned up, there was 4 of them in the car. And I'm like, I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, what are you all doing in that car?
It's a bit odd.
And it was but it was like one of them real small, like Kia Rio. And small or whatever I don't know what car it was, but it was a very small car.
It's probably
with 2 doors, and I just found it very weird that 4 guys were in the car.
He's probably giving people a lift around town at the same time.
Driver as well. Yeah.
I had an Uber recently where the guy was giving tech support on the phone while he was driving.
Really?
Yeah. He asked me at the beginning. He said, "Are you okay with me taking some calls? Because I do some other stuff on the side." And I went, "Yeah, sure." And he's just literally doing...
So, what you wearing?
That would have been more exciting.
That looks nice.
No, he was doing tech support in like Punjabi/English.
Oh yeah.
So as you know, when you hear, it's kind of half and half, isn't it? Where you hear words and then there's loads you don't.
So they should be charged double congestion charge.
Maybe, or I should have got a free ride for that.
Yeah.
At least fix your phone or something. Anyway.
Yeah. Interesting one though. Let us know what you think about in the comment section.
Yeah, something different from us.
Yeah.
News on congestion.
Yeah.
Don't forget, like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.